Welcome to your doom.
Hello, everyone. We are your harbingers of doom, Atul Kachru and
Justin Carksole.
And we are here live from...
Sorry, I haven't had a mic in my hand like this in a while. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's been a little while. We are coming to you live from Sector 2814, one of, let me check my notes here, 3,600 territorial sectors patrolled by the Green Lantern Corps.
My God.
And as we all know, there are more than one Corps in this galaxy. Multiple colors, multiple emotions, powering those colors.
Yes.
Justin, what is your favorite Lantern Corps and why?
Ooh. Okay. I think, I haven't given this much thought, but I think the Blue Lantern Corps.
Okay.
I like the concept of hope, and I like how their rings kind of work. The whole concept of the Blue Lantern Corps is that they inherently aren't that powerful themselves, right?
I don't think they have any actual offensive constructs.
Yeah, they have some defensive capabilities, can fly, shields and stuff like that. But unless they have a Green Lantern around, they really can't do much. And then they supercharge the lanterns.
That's right.
And the whole idea there is that hope without action or hope without will is kind of useless. So that's how they kind of feed into them. I always thought that was kind of a neat concept.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of useless is a core themselves.
Just by themselves.
Yeah, just by themselves. But that concept always I thought was kind of neat. Second to the Orange Lantern.
Yeah,
I think the Orange Lantern's super bloody cool.
I was going to say the Orange Lantern. So blue is hope. Orange is avarice.
Avarice. I would have said Avarice because I don't know how to speak.
Avarice, it's a great word. It is. I mean, they could just have said greed.
Yes.
But they said avarice because it's just got more syllables and sounds nicer.
Yeah.
I just love the concept of a Lantern Corps that is based on greed that has only one member, because Larfleeze is the only member of the Orange Lantern Corps, and he's so greedy that he will not let anyone else join his corps. And the lantern, he's constantly holding on to it, and he's just saying mine a lot of the time. Any lanterns that he kills, or I think it's any one. I don't know if it's lanterns explicitly that he, murders, become part of, like, ghosts of his corps. So he invokes their spirits, and they come pouring out of the Orange Lantern. But there is only one lantern. It's only him.
Right.
I thought that was really fun.
Yeah.
And there are certain moments in the comics that Larfleeze gets to shine, and it's just fun. All the concepts, like you were saying, how the blue and the hope overcharges the green, that's will, and then there are other lanterns, right? There's the violet lanterns, which are love, and the red lanterns are rage, and yellow is fear, and indigo is compassion. Did I miss any? I think that's it, right?
Yellow sphere?
Yellow sphere, yeah. And and then we have the Black Lantern Corps is death, and then the White Lantern Corps is life.
Right.
And so it's a fun little universe.
Fun little rainbow of a universe.
Yeah, that they've built in the comics, and now we have this show, Lanterns, fresh off of its premiere date.
Yep.
It is Wednesday today. It premiered on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty excited about this. I'll be totally honest. Like I think we're both really big Green Lantern fans. So being a Green Lantern fan is pretty hard. it's pretty tough. It's been
cinematically, it's been kind of tough.
It's been a tough road because you had the one big sort of movie that came out with Ryan Reynolds playing Hal Jordan, and it wasn't enough that movie just failed. But it's become this
punching bag of Ryan Reynolds whenever he's talking about any other superhero movie other than Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Because it just keeps coming up, and we keep talking about how awful it is, and he keeps talking about how awful it is, and it gets dragged into every movie. I mean, every movie, because he's done 3 Deadpool movies now.
Right, yeah,
and almost, I swear, every time it's mentioned, like it's this name dropped at some point. It's just like never letting us forget, how not great that film was.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I didn't think the film was like, I don't feel that movie is offensively terrible, but it is so bland.
Yeah.
That really just, it was a real tragedy that it erased anything unique about the property entirely, which I think is the biggest crime you can do against a property like this, which is like, let's just make it look like everything else, and let's just shave off anything unique, and except like the shining star of that film is Peter Sarsgaard. As what's his name, Hector Hammond. For anyone who's seen this movie, he's in a different movie. He is in a David Lynch, like, crazy, like art film. He is not in Green Lantern. I don't know what they told him, but that guy is in a different movie. He's the only reason to really watch the movie, because the performance is so insane to me.
I still remember I was in LA. I was so gung ho about this movie and like dragged a bunch of my friends after it. And after the movie was done, I felt like I had to apologize. I did apologize to everybody, and then I wrote you a scathing email about how bad it was. I was actually planning on reading it. Here.
Oh, right, reading it on the show.
Then I dug it up and I read it. I'm like, I can't put this out there. This is horrible.
Yeah.
Like I was not kind.
That's funny.
To that movie, and I kind of stand by it. I think there were some kind of fun elements to, like, I liked what they did with the suit, in the sense of it being basically like fully like an energy based projection.
Sure.
It looked distinct across the different lanterns. I liked the way that they did the construct, not the constructs in general, but like the training scene with Kilowog and stuff. I'm like, this is good. Mm-hmm. And then everything else just kind of fell totally flat. And Parallax was so poorly done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally agree. On that, I didn't like the training sequence in that movie, just because he gets the ring, and if I recall, I've seen this movie once, and you made the mistake of going to see it with a group of people.
Yes,
I went to see this by myself, so I could just be alone when the movie happened to me. You know what I mean? So I didn't have to apologize to anyone. I didn't take anyone to it. But yeah, that training sequence is weird, because he gets the ring, he goes to, I don't know where he is.
They're on Oa, and it looks like
but like there's
shit.
and there's like it looks terrible. Yeah. There's no other lanterns around, and he just starts getting trained on the spot. And it's just very, like I said, it's just stripped down. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Where I feel like the stories that are written, like the stories that are in the comics, like they've gone the extra length to really have all of this make sense. And I think that was absolutely lost in translation. So having said that, like, what are some of your favorite Green Lantern things in media? Like, whether it's animation or comics, or even swag, or figures, or merch. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Shit, I got a lot of that. I think, okay, so in terms of just media that's been produced, First Flight is like my gold standard from what I wanted to see on film. We'll talk about Lanterns after this.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was a very tight story. It
I think it's like 75 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's a pretty short movie, but they hit all the notes. They did a lot of what happened in, oh my god, I'm gonna forget the name of the run. They borrowed from a lot of different Lantern stories that were out there, right? A little bit of the Sinestro Corps Wars, to some degree, not with the full Corps, obviously, but the way that he kind of defected and wanted to, basically the way he wanted to take down the Corps, I felt was kind of reminiscent of that, but they definitely went in a much different direction.
Yeah,
but I just thought it was so well done. They went from him getting the ring all the way to him excelling and figuring it out and failing and then excelling again is just such a tight story, to the point where after I'd seen the live action Green Lantern film, I was like, why didn't they just do this again?
Yeah.
Like, the blueprint was there. That worked. Expand it if you need to, but like, that's all you needed to do.
The green print.
The green. Well done.
Yeah.
Favorite swag? I'm looking at it right now. Maybe I'll put a picture of it on the thing.
Oh, yeah.
But at Comic-Con ages ago, it's off screen on my wall, I collected, they were giving out, this was during the Blackest Night series, and they were giving out all of the different rings. So I've got all the different rings from all the different cores, like we were talking about, from black all the way up to white. And I had a copy of the Blackest Night, issue 0. And I got that signed by, I think, Ivan Reyes and Jeff Johns.
Nice.
And I don't remember the other guy. I think it's Joe something.
Anyways. Oh, Prado.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was Joe Prado.
He's the colorist or the inker. Inker, maybe.
So I put in a little. What are those kind of things called? What are
like a
shadow box or no?
Yeah, like an award case.
Yeah, it's like a really thick.
It's like a frame.
Yeah, it's like a thick frame.
But it also allows you to put like awards and things inside.
So I stuck all the rings in there, and that's probably my favorite like lantern piece of memorabilia. Outside of, I've also got Blackest Night and Sinestro Corps War. Rebirth!
Absolute.
I didn't even mention Rebirth. That's actually that might be my favorite book that I have.
Yeah,
love Rebirth.
You have them all in absolutes, right?
Yeah,
I gotta borrow those off you because I wanted to do a reread.
Oh, buddy,
at some point, but
hijack them.
Yeah. Yeah, those are all great. I loved Rebirth, when it came out. I gotta agree with you. First Flight, really just fantastic economic storytelling. 75 minutes, you get the whole deal. They changed things about the lore. They changed things about Hal and Sinestro and their relationship and all of that stuff, and that's fine. Actually, I'm totally okay with that. In the same way that Lanterns changes a lot of that lore and how characters interact or when they met or their temperaments towards each other. This, that DC Direct animated film, First Flight, does the same thing. But I love that because what they've done is they've took the essence and they've made a 75-minute animated film that just that fires on all cylinders. It's an investigative procedural. It's like a Lethal Weapon almost style of buddy cop, investigative drama, new guys learning the ropes with the old hat, cop that's taking him around and showing him the ropes. And what a great idea. Yeah. I haven't actually read a comic book, like a story in the comics that is that story. It doesn't exist. It was a unique story, at least not one that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
It was a unique story made for that movie. So I highly recommend to anybody who's listening to this, if they haven't seen and interested in Green Lantern in any way, which I would assume you are to some extent if you're, listening to this, check out Green Lantern First Flight. Animated film. It's 75 minutes. It's so short. It's over before you know it. But really great, science fiction world building. It's funny. It's punchy, and then it does not overstay its welcome.
The animation's really also top notch too. That's another thing to mention. It's really, really good.
It is, and I don't know. I may be wrong about this, but I think it was before they kind of outsource their animation to the South Korean studios.
I think so, yeah.
Which have their own benefits because I think they can do action really, really well. I think it's just some of the animated films later are a little more they're a little more static.
Yeah.
Than some of these earlier DC Direct animated films, which were, I think, probably American studios or a different studio. I'm not sure if they were American or not, but later there was more of a homogenous look to some of the films. They do break away from that from time to time, but this was kind of before they had that. Every movie looked different. Yeah. And a lot of the movies, if they were based on a comic, were actually trying to emulate the art style from the comic book that they were based off of. Yeah, so I thought that was really, really neat. So First Flight, and then of course the stories, the Rebirth, Sinestro Corps War, Blackest Night triple header and I just think an all-timer in terms of runs for any superhero story in comics. Just like a riveting page turner that I just couldn't get enough of. I wanted all of the offshoots. I was eating all of this mythology and just like soaking it all up as it was coming out. And I loved it. And really, it just made me love comic books again, because I had fallen off for a long time before that. And then when this stuff started coming out, I'm like, they're really firing on all cylinders. And Jeff Johns kind of masterminded a lot of this, but there are other writers that contribute like Green Lantern Corps, which is kind of an offshoot of the original Green Lantern series. What an excellent book. Yeah. Like such an excellent book. Love that book. And that's the one that really opens the world building up, So I would easily recommend those to read. In terms of swag, do I have anything? I've got some bookends. I've got a Green Lantern and Sinestro bookend. And it's kind of like these statues.
Have I ever seen it? I feel like I've never seen it.
It's packaged away somewhere when we moved. I never unpacked it because we don't have a bookshelf.
Yeah.
So once I do get a bookshelf, I would love to use it. But it's a really cool bookends. GL bookends, and I had a ring for the longest time. I wore it for so many years, and then I was slicing vegetables. I think it was vegetables, and I cut myself on my ring finger, my middle finger. Sorry, not my ring finger. My middle finger is where I wore it, and it started bleeding profusely. Yeah, I cut myself very deeply. And so I tried to get the bleeding to stop, so I got the bleeding to stop, but then I noticed that the thing was swelling up. My finger was swelling up, and my ring was on that finger, and I couldn't get the ring off. And my finger was constantly swelling, and I'm like, this isn't good. This is like what we talked about earlier with the physical movie club thing, which I won't bring up again on the air again, but it's very similar to that situation that we discussed earlier.
Please don't.
So I had to take some pliers and jaws of life the ring off of my finger. That's why I had to snap it off, and it was broken. So yeah, since then I just haven't replaced it, but I do want to get one, because I do want to get one, but everyone that you can find is almost like a football ring.
Yeah.
It's just a little too big, so I haven't quite found the right one to pick up again. But yeah, that's kind of the stuff that, in terms of Green Lantern lore and swag, that's kind of what we like.
Yeah.
Anything else to chat about before we dive in to maybe some non-spoilery thoughts? Is that, and then we can dive into the spoilers.
Yeah,
I was thinking of just going through the show beat by. It's a 1 hour episode.
Yeah, we'll go beat by beat.
Yeah, beat by beat. All right, so general thoughts.
General thoughts. I came away from it wanting more. It was a very slow build, and that was very deliberate. I mean, everybody's that's been talking about this has been comparing it to True Detective, and there was another show you mentioned. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I mean, it's an apt comparison given the fact that it has that slow build. It's slowly building this very small world right now because they're sticking to Earth.
Yeah.
It's elaborating on the characters, introducing them to you and their interpretations in the show. Overall, I walked away from it enjoying it, thinking that it had a few humorous beats, and there's so much that I think that we don't know, and I don't think that any character is actually who they seem to be at this point. Not a single one of them.
Right. You mean you mean they're withholding information?
I think everybody's withholding something right now. So I think that it's gonna. I think as this. Do you know how many episodes this is? Is it 8?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I
think over the course of this, and one thing that I thought was interesting is how they kind of jump through time in the show. They basically jump forward several time periods throughout the show to tell the story. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out, given the fact that, like I said, I think that they're introducing us to these characters, but I think there's a lot more that meets the eye to all of them. So I think we're going to see a lot of this back and forth. But overall, enjoyed it. Watched it with my wife as well, and she enjoyed it, which was a big win. Yeah, man.
Nisha liked it, eh?
Yeah.
I was That's what just really warms my heart.
I know.
Isn't that nice?
Look,
that is nice.
It's so hard to find something sometimes that we both want to watch.
Oh, man.
Like, I can't tell you the number of times where, like, I'll walk by her and she's watching Shaws of Sunset and she'll be like, do you want to sit down? I'm like, not even, no.
Do you say Shaws of Sunset?
I think that's what it's called. I don't know. It's something you'll never want to watch in your life, though.
Okay.
It's a bunch of rich people that are in a faux reality TV show and nothing seems real at all.
Oh, is it a reality show, though?
It's something.
Okay. Something. So you're saying you pass by your wife watching something and you're like, I don't want to watch that something.
Whatever that is. Like, Gossip
Whatever
Girl,
that is.
I'm good. I don't need to watch Gossip Girl for the third time. Sorry, I haven't watched Gossip Girl for the third time. She's watching it now. She's going through it.
Gossip Girl is who's in that?
Blake Lively, our friend.
Yes.
Green Lantern acclaim.
Green. Oh boy, that's the movie they met on.
Yes.
Is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Something good came out of that.
You know what? I've heard that she's very sweet.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I've told the story here before. I'm not going to get into it now, but she is very sweet.
She is.
She's
You can confirm.
I can confirm. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you liked it.
Liked it.
Okay. Great. I also liked it very much. Love the slow burn, the pot boiler. I love a good procedural. I'm a sucker for a police procedural.
Yes.
Good mystery. And you name drop True Detective. That's I think one of the producers was a producer on True Detective. But if you look at the showrunners on this show, it's hang on, sorry, those are the writers. Sorry, let me see who are the showrunners here. Anyway, I'm going to assume that these are the showrunners. It says it's written. The first episode is written by them, but Chris Mundy, I believe he's the one that was on True Detective. David Lindelof, who is of Lost fame, and many other things, but most recently, the Watchmen show.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that. No, I haven't, but it's gotten all kinds of acclaim.
I've had it recommended to me more than once. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it because I was a bit. I think I'd recently watched the DC animated Watchmen adaptation, parts 1 and 2. I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
Really fun, really great adaptation. The animation works better than you might think it would work, and it's just the Watchmen is just a good story because when it's adapted so closely to the books, they've managed to really streamline it on those two. It's a 2-part movie, another DC direct animated film, Watchmen Part 1 and 2. I could easily recommend that. You turn it on, I just got sucked in immediately into the story. And then I was kind of like, I was gonna watch the series, and I just felt a little Watchmened out. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just give it a little space and then come back to it. So it's been recommended several times. So Lindelof was a huge driver on that show, and by all accounts, a good show. People tend to say good things about that show. And then the third person here is Tom King, who is a writer, and he's basically a pretty prominent writer at DC, but also has written some Marvel stuff, as all writers kind of bounce between the big two. But The Vision, Batman, Mr. Miracle, Human Target, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. So a lot of his stories are kind of being adapted, and he's part of these writers' rooms. And it's excellent. This combination of people that they got on Lanterns is like fantastic. I think it's an interesting mix of in terms of kind of resume. So and it shows on the screen. And the one thing I'll say about it that that's non-spoilery, but that the real reason I'm really loving it. Really love this first episode is because it feels fresh. In the same way I watched Green Lantern First Flight, they take a fresh perspective on the whole thing. This is taking a totally fresh perspective. This show doesn't look or sound like any other comic book adaptation. They have really put their own stamp on it. They've taken their own unique look and presented a very unique vision of what Green Lanterns can be in this form. And I'm so happy about that. The freshness counts for so much. because as you know, I'm kind of curmudgeonly, now with my, when it comes to kind of blockbusters, in particular, maybe superhero films.
Yeah.
I just feel they just all feel the same. And there's really no other offender that is greater in recent memory than Supergirl. Did you watch Supergirl?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Supergirl is a movie that is pretty much everything that I've grown tired of in superhero films, where it looks and feels like everything else that's come before it. Quick thoughts on Supergirl. I'm like, it's fine. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is, but there could have been so much more there, and it just feels like a knockoff of Guardians. It feels like, and looks and feels, and it looks, because some of that stuff is just, it's so bland, and it's really unfortunate. And it's like it's a yawn inducing. Like, you're just kind of looking at it, I'm like, okay, give me, you had promised, you being James Gunn, DC, Warner Brothers, whoever, to bring on directors with unique visions and have them be director-focused films. This is not, this is the director Craig Gillespie, who did, I, Tonya. He did a few other movies that are like, I really enjoyed. I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna have a vision for Supergirl.
Yeah.
And
turns out it's
just
Gunn.
James Gunn's got his, felt like he had his hand up his ass. It was just kind of like puppeteering him the whole time. I don't know if that was a studio choice. I don't know if that's Gillespie's choice. I don't know if that's Gunn's choice. In the end, I suppose it doesn't really matter. But the point is that the product that comes out just feels like it's made by committee. Whereas when I watched the first episode of Lanterns, it's everything that they had promised.
Yeah.
It is creative, driven, unique vision, clearly not made by committee. And now I know this is all the first episode, but I hope it keeps up that energy for the rest of the show. So that's the highest compliment I can pay to this, is that it's a unique, holistic vision, and it is interesting.
True.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to jump into some spoilers?
Let's do it.
Cool. We're about to spoil Lanterns.
The green is stupid.
Yeah, it's redundant. Lanterns episode 1, titled, and get this.
I know.
Pilot.
I was like, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. In 3, 2,
oh, for fuck's sakes.
1, spoilers. Okay. The show opens up with, I think it's 2006.
1996.
1996.
1996.
Wow, did I ever have that wrong?
No, you're pretty close.
Yeah, okay. 1996, where it looks like a young Jon Stewart is watching a TV interview of Hal Jordan as the Green Lantern, and it's on a CRT TV, which should have told me that it was 1996 and not 2006. Yeah. Clearly, I wasn't paying attention. And his brothers, I believe it's 2 brothers, are really nervous about his dad coming home and catching him watching this interview. Something like that. Yeah. His dad comes home, and they quickly turn the TV off, and the dad knows that his kid's been watching the show and asks him what he learned from this interview with Hal Jordan. He tells him his name, and he tells him that he's a pilot and blah, blah, blah. And you find out that, Hal's dad was a pilot and died in a plane crash. And then his father, to prove that, for his son to prove that he has no fear, he puts an apple on his head and shoots the apple off of his head. Excellent 10 out of 10 parenting in my book.
That's how I put my kids to bed this morning.
Yeah, that's tonight. Right. That's right. If you do not go to sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what did you make of this 1996 bit?
I loved it. It was one of these things that was so shocking. You're just like, wait, what's happening right now? It was such a juxtaposition of shock. And, it went from, curiosity, what's going to happen? Is this some sort of an abusive family? Mm-hmm. To, oh, my God, what are we doing here? Right. To a very sweet hug.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they managed to make me go, aw, when he hugged him. Despite the fact that a second ago he shot an apple off of the kid's head. Yeah. I don't know how they managed to do that, but they did a really I don't know. It was a shock. It was a big shock.
Right. Yeah, it was a shock. And I to be honest, I wasn't exactly sure what was happening. Were the kids nervous that the dad was going to catch him watching the program? But then his dad's like, it's almost like his dad is grooming his child to take the role of Green Lantern. He's like, you can do this, but you can't be afraid, because that's the big hook for receiving the ring. Yes. The ring asks you, are you afraid? Yeah. So, and that's so back when I was saying that nobody is who they are right now, that John's story is going to unfold, in my opinion, and it's going to be just that, is that his father was grooming him to become the ultimate weapon for the United States, for Earth, whatever. But he wanted that power for his son, right? For whatever reason. Maybe he can control him more, or what have you. But that's, I think that the word grooming is exactly right in this sense. And why the other brothers were so afraid to be the ones to get pulled out in the back, or whatever the consequences would have been, we don't know yet. Yeah, I definitely think the show is telling you that he's being groomed for the job. Like, his father wants this for him. It's just, I was confused why there was nervousness about him watching them. Wouldn't his dad want him to watch the interview, learn more about Hal? You know, it just seemed weird. It seemed a little strange. Nothing I'd want to get too hung up on, but but just something I'm sure if I read something later, it'll explain to me. I'm not the most intelligent watcher. I don't pick up everything the first time around, you know. But yeah. So then we jump to 2016. Yes. 20 years later. 20 years later. Yeah. I was thinking in my head, 10 years. This guy has really been eating his protein. Like, gosh, like growth hormones or what? What's going on? This guy is late 20s, 30s. Something like that now, I would imagine. 20 years later. Thought I had about this is just so stupid. 2006, 10 years later, this guy's an absolute monster. Yeah. You know, like, come on. Demolishing this punching bag at the gym. So now it's an older Jon Stewart. Kyle Chandler. Kyle Chandler, not Kyle Rayner. No. Kyle Chandler. Playing Hal Jordan. Comes and picks him up, and he is late. And the show immediately sets up an incredibly standoffish relationship between these two. It also establishes that Hal Jordan is training Jon Stewart to be a Green Lantern, and you can tell that they do not see eye to eye. Yeah. Hal to train him basically leaves the ring on the dash, dives out of the car, and lets the car go off of a cliff, expecting, and John, of course, as he's falling, grabs the ring, puts it on. The show does not show you exactly what happens, but the car does crash. There's a little flash of green action in that explosion, and then bam, we get the title card. Yeah. Lanterns. And I was like, ooh, that's interesting. What did you make of this introductory scene? This is the first scene they've got together. It's the first time we're seeing Hal and John in a dialogue scene together. You start. I'm gonna think about how I'm gonna respond to that. Sure. I really liked it, and I'll tell you this. I saw the trailers for this show, and I really was not liking how much of a dick they were making Hal to be. And this episode doesn't really pull back from that. Hal is, in this time frame in 2016, he's like 1,000 miles of bad road, this guy. And from 1996 to 2016, clearly a lot's happened to him. But he's so negative, and he's such a pain in the ass, and he's so cocky and full of himself. And I was just like, and he's standoff. He's not welcoming to John at all. And in my head, I'm like, I feel like Hal is not that much of an asshole in the comics. That's what I'm thinking of. And when I saw the trailers, I'm like, I hope they don't make him just a dickhead the whole time. And they did. And I think I'm coming around to it. You know, as I was watching the episode, I was like, okay, I get it. Because in a later scene, in the next scene, John is walking and he gets a hologram of Hal in the ring. And it's a AI kind of reconstruction of his
consciousness from 10 years prior. So that would be 2006. 10?
This is getting confusing.
I'm good with numbers. They're all increments of 10 centered around 6. I got this.
This is getting confusing. So now you're telling me 2006 is involved. I just got rid of 2006.
I have a feeling we're going to be going back to 2006 in this series at some point too.
Oh, God, I'm going to be sitting there with a little timeline, just like
a little abacus.
Yeah, and it's clear something has happened to Hal to make him this way, and they actually show him the way he was when he wasn't such a dickhead, and it's kind of nice to see that. I'm like, okay, this is a plot point. It's not he's like this just because they need some texture to the relationship. There's reason and a meaningful reason why he's acting the way he's acting. So that was the one thing I was really worried about in the show, to be honest. But it's okay, and I'm warming up to it.
I'm a little the opposite of you because I was less worried about it, and then as I was going through the show, it worked. Don't get me wrong. I think that their contentious relationship is, I mean, it's a central point to the show. It's going to be, or at least it seems like it's going to be. But there are times where I'm just like, come on, man, like ease up. Like, specifically at the what's it called? I felt I'm not remembering exactly the moment. There was a specific moment I was like, for fuck's sakes, like he's a superhero, he's a hero. Can we just make him a little bit more heroic, a little gentler? It was a little bit much at times. But I do like the way that he was trying to goad him, right? And being like, I'm late. Does that bother you at all? And like really, really like needling his military background. Like he knows exactly how to get under his skin, and it seems to be working, though John is keeping his composure. But I again, like thinking about that there's going to be more and more to these characters. Obviously there's going to be more to Hal. I feel like that 2006 thing is going to be a very pivotal point. I'm curious because here's the thing, like the question is to me, the first question is, why did he stop making those backups? He's supposed to be doing it, every 10 days, they said.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, what happened in 2006 that made that stop happening?
Right.
So
makes sense. Yeah. He meets up with him at a taco stand, and they have further conversation.
Yeah.
Where John says that, hey, he calls it a hologram.
The hologram, which is great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
The hologram popped up and said I guess what is some kind of keyword.
Hale is coming to Rushmore, Nebraska.
Yeah, Hale.
And then he just fucks off.
Yeah.
Pay the check. That is the best dine and dash, literally dash, I've ever seen in my life.
That was so good.
Yeah.
And another huge point for the show, because the approach that the show has taken with its atmosphere and its aesthetic, the superhero stuff is gonna pop big time, and it absolutely popped in this, and it was like a shocking moment.
Yeah.
Where Jon Stewart sitting at the table saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, this hologram said you would understand this code phrase." He's like, "What's the code phrase?" He said, "Hail is." What was it? It's hailing in Nebraska.
It's hailing in Rushville, Nebraska.
Nebraska. And Hal, while eating tacos, has a strong reaction.
Yeah.
And then turns around and flies away. So I'm kind of obsessed with effects, and especially since this is a hero that I've loved for so long. I was wondering, how are they going to do some of the flight stuff? And eventually we'll talk about kind of how the ring constructs work themselves, but I loved this. I loved the way it looked. I thought it looked amazing, and like I said, the juxtaposition on top of this really gritty sort of noirish crime procedural.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is like chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the understated flying in the sense that you're not seeing green everywhere, and
love that.
It literally just looks like gravity is turned off for him, and he just like goes into the sky. It doesn't even look. It almost looks like unintentional. Like he just floats right off. It was and very fast. I thought it was. I like the effect. And the lack of effect too. In the sense they kept it simple. Let's talk about the constructs. That like, there's only a few constructs that you see in this. I think there's the bubble that he wraps the villain, the explodey guy in, and then there's the money, and then the bottle opener, and then he lights the girl's cigarette.
Yes. Yeah.
Which not exactly a construct. Just trying to. Anyways, I'm curious to see if they're going to keep these as understated as they have been, but I really like I like that they're kind of just evaporating into dust, like the bottle opener. The way that the bottle opener just kind of, I was like, this is cool. Like they're not using it in a very frivolous way. They're just.
Well, he is.
Sorry. Frivolous is the wrong word.
The point of his constructs are extremely frivolous.
I apologize. I meant he's only using it in frivolous ways. He's not using it in like big, showy, crazy ways.
Right.
It's just kind of like, little things.
And Hal in the comics is not a particularly imaginative user of the ring. He's just giant fists and bubbles, and that's it. He doesn't really do much else, whereas other lanterns do more. And I love that. Like in the next scene, we see, in a scene after that, we see him create money, like you said, creates a dollar bill, puts it into a jukebox, and it is so understated to the point where it's like, do you feel like, a part of my brain was like, am I getting like the first X-Men, vibes off of this, where it's like, we can't, have Wolverine in his costume. We need to have him in black leather. Like everybody needs to be in black leather. We can't have any color. That's all much too goofy.
Yeah.
But I have this feeling that all of this understatedness is giving them room.
Yes.
It's giving them so much room to later really go nuts with it.
Yeah.
And Hal not glowing green, and he doesn't wear the suit either. He mentions that I don't wear the suit because I have nothing to prove anymore, something along those lines. They're really understating it, because I think by episode 8, I think things are going to get pretty wacky, and I think it's going to go there. And then even then, it might not go all the way there, because there's still more story to tell, right? Other users of the Green Lantern rings, you'll start seeing their personalities come through the rings. And I think they want to have room, because if they blow their load on like all of this stuff at the beginning, showing everybody everything, what the ring can do and how it's so flashy, is that they don't give themselves enough room to really be imaginative with other lanterns.
Yeah.
So I love that it's understated. When he starts flying, he just starts flying. He doesn't glow, like you said.
Yeah.
So like really, really interesting take.
Yep.
So they poor Jon Stewart's got to hop on a plane to nowhere. He just leaves him at this taco stand.
Yeah.
And he's got to hop on a plane and get over to Rushville, Nebraska, where he finds, admittedly, this must be like 6-7 hours later at least.
Yeah.
He's sitting in the stands of a football field, like a high school football stadium.
Yeah.
And there was a shooting that happened there.
Yeah,
so they start talking about what's going on. You meet the sheriff, who is really great. I forgot, Kelly MacDonald, I think is the actress's name. Fantastic. She's great. And it's a quote-unquote mass shooting, and Hal is convinced there are aliens involved, non-terrestrials. And this is where Kelly MacDonald's actually doing some of this world-building explanation stuff, where she's hinting at, hey, ever since you arrived, we all know that we're not alone. Like, we get that. But there's still this concept of jurisdiction, and you do not have jurisdiction here. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I have jurisdiction if extraterrestrials are involved. He's like, they're all human. It's like, well, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So really, this is all very elegantly done in terms of like setting up the world and what people know, the average person knows, and what the average person doesn't know. They know that they're aliens. They just don't, and there is still kind of this jurisdiction.
I thought it was interesting that he seems to have such a disdain. Not even just like not liking authority. He has a disdain for authority.
Yeah.
However, he follows the procedures and respects the chain of command on Earth of all places. I mean, it's his birthplace, but like, I'd be curious to see if he had the same authoritative respect for the Guardians if they told him not to do something, or if he wanted to do something that he knew would be against the Green Lantern Corps protocol.
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting decision. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
I I have this feeling that that whatever happened to him, maybe it's with the Guardians. Like maybe the Guardians that gave him the ring, and now he's training, effectively training his replacement. So it's like something's happened. Yeah. So he has fucked around with authority, and I think something has happened that has undermined the confidence in his ability to continue to be a Green Lantern. Mm-hmm. The Earth stuff. You're right. He is following the rules more or less, but he's also playing a bit of a dirty game. Like later, where he tries to, he seems like he wants to follow the Earth rules, but he also knows deep in his gut he has these hunches, and he's following them. Yeah. But it's interesting. I do think it's going to come down to whatever happened to him, and it is going to be a rule of authority thing that he's like kind of messed things up somehow. Yeah. And they identify in a really cool way that there's one onlooker as they're bagging the bodies on the field. There's one onlooker that is he's identified as not being, one of the shooters. Yeah. But he's kind of escaped and blended in with the crowd. A foot chase ensues. They capture this guy, and he wants to question him, but will not be allowed to question him because he's a human being. He is not in the jurisdiction of the Green Lanterns. And so I love the foot chase scene. Dialogue here is really great. What happens after this?
I just wanted to mention the Katie Kane, I think, is the name of the sheriff, I think. Yeah. And I like that they set her up to not be some incompetent like yokel cop.
Perfect.
Like I thought that was so good.
Love that.
Yeah, I like that she's actually like a strong. She seems like a strong character, strong-willed. I'm a fan of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and she also, John and Hal end up at a bar. We could talk about that scene where he explains how he got the ring and how he intends to interrogate this suspect by getting into a bar fight on purpose and being locked up next to the guy, and he'll be able to talk to him. And when he does that, gets over there, and she's like, "What an idiot! He thought I was going to lock him up with the suspect, so I put him in the closet instead." And I'm like, "This is great." Yeah. Because I think a lot of shows, movies, whatever, they'll show characters. They'll tell you that they're smart. Yeah. And you just kind of have to accept the fact that they're smart. Yeah. And they'll show you very surface level things that they do that are quote unquote smart. And then you just kind of have to, you're like, okay, now I accept that this person is smart. This show has taken the time with the sheriff to show you that she's 2 steps ahead of Hal the entire time. Hal not being kind of a blowhard and not particularly hyper bright himself. I feel like he goes off half cocked all the time, but he has so much experience that
he'll figure it out.
Ultimately, he sorts himself out, but he's not a great planner. And that shows. And I think and I love that they show that about her, because now when I see her on the show, I'm like, oh, there are gears turning back there. She steps ahead of these guys, So he gets into this bar fight, which I thought was really funny. And leaves the ring. He leaves the ring on the bar, and he does it by creating a construct of a dollar bill or whatever. Puts it in the jukebox, and the jukebox keeps playing the same song over and over and over again. Everybody seems to know who this guy is, by the way. So Hal is famous. Yeah, he's signing autographs and he's doing all this kinds of stuff, and it's strange because some people want his autograph, but these guys at the bar, they're like, "I'm gonna kick your ass if you don't stop doing what you're doing." It's like, oh, but you're talking to you're talking to what is obviously a superhero. Yeah. And the only way that he can do what he's doing with the jukebox is because he has a ring, and this ring can dummy you. With a thought. So what are we doing here, right? That part was a little strange, where it's like there isn't really any. That seemed just like the guy was squaring off against the average bar goer.
Yeah.
Instead of a superhero.
I didn't think about that. All I could think of was, this is a John Mulaney bit. Have you ever heard that bit? John Mulaney, comedian, really famous comedian, had a bit where he went to a restaurant, and him and his friend they played on a jukebox What's New Pussycat from, I think, Tom Jones.
Okay.
20 times straight.
Oh my God.
And they just sat back and watched the entire restaurant or bar or whatever just unfold with madness.
That is not good.
The best part, and I was hoping they were going to do it in here, was they're like, on the 7th time that we played this, we threw in a, it's not unusual to be loved. And that was the best decision that they could make. Because all of a sudden that came on, everybody's like, oh, thank God, no more of that. And then it ended, and it was, bop, 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 what's new, pussy? And the whole place just explodes.
Jeez. That is an underhanded, nefarious move. It is. Yeah, and I mean, like, I hope it didn't play out the way it plays out for Hal in this scene, because he gets his ass kicked. Badly, yes. By
design. He was all smiles at the end.
That's true, yeah.
Bloody smiles.
Yeah. And Jon Stewart hooks up with a strange lady at the bar.
Yeah.
And he lights her post-coitus cigarette with his ring.
That's not how I would describe it.
It's accurate, I mean, that's what it is. Post-coitus cigarette, right? I mean, I hear it's a thing. I hear it's a thing. I'm not a smoker, but I hear it's a thing. You know, after you're done doing the deed, you just want to have a smoke. Well, I mean, one wants to have a smoke. I've never wanted to have a smoke, but you see it in the movies enough. It must be real, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so he ends up hooking up with this girl, and the next day goes to bail Hal out. He's in the closet, not in the drunk tank with, the other guy. And eventually they get bailed out by the sheriff's husband.
Yep.
And get invited to a ranch.
Yeah.
Because there's a favor being done here.
Yeah. Her father-in-law, the sheriff's father-in-law, is like the big rich guy in town and is funding his bail, no problem, which I think was $200,000. Just no problem.
No big deal.
So they go to this ranch and they meet the father-in-law. And this ranch is not just a ranch, it's a full-on compound. There's whole bands of militia that are in training, riding horses, fully automatic rifles, everything. And you meet I had written down his name. The actor I have seen in so
Garrett Dillahunt.
Dillahunt, yeah.
I can't remember Dillahunt. Yeah, I can't remember the character's name in the show, but this was another brilliant piece of casting. I absolutely, really, really enjoyed Garrett Dillahunt's performance here. He usually is playing some kind of like dim-witted villain of some kind.
Yeah.
This show classes him right up, and he is pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
Like, just watching him operate, watch his dialogue delivery, like his absolute presence, like his swag in this scenes that he has. He's dominating those scenes. Yeah. And I'm like, that's excellent. Yeah. That is a really excellent piece of casting. I really enjoyed that.
It's William McCone is the character's name.
William.
But I got to know him, like I was introduced to the actor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles, if you'd ever seen that TV show.
No, I never watched
He was the Terminator in that for a good long time.
What?
He was excellent.
Crazy.
Scary.
Ah, that's crazy.
Scary.
I did not know that.
And he's got such range, because he can do serious, he can do comedy. He's a good working actor.
Yeah. His scenes are great, and he kind of informs Kyle. I keep saying Kyle because I'm thinking Kyle Rayner and Kyle Chandler.
Chandler and Rayner are kind of close-ish.
He informs Hal. Like, when they come in, it's the compound, like you were saying. Yeah. Everyone seems to be training. It's like, are these kind of revolutionaries, domestic terrorists? Like, what are these guys? Militia, I think, is the word he uses. And they're like training for an invasion. They're, ever since Hal got the ring, they know that they're not alone, and rightly so identify, hey, when you're doing the invading, everything's hunky-dory, but when you're the one being invaded, it's not great.
Right.
So he's like, he wants to put together, a militia or like an army to effectively repel this invasion. And so he bails them out. He has them over for dinner. What looks like delicious food.
Oh, yeah.
Good Lord. It was like preparing that rack of
ribs.
Yeah, man. He was getting right in there, saucing those bad boys up.
Yeah.
He smoked them.
Put them on a smoker.
Yeah, he was doing the whole thing.
Let John fuck his wife.
Yeah. So it turns out that the lady having that post-coitus cigarette was Garrett Dillahunt's wife.
Yeah.
Which he seems to know about.
Yeah. And he was just like, that's fine. It seemed very okay, which was strange.
Yeah, it was strange. And they were both kind of weirded out. Kyle did it again. Hal and John kind of weirded out by that. But it's clear that there are very malicious undertones here.
Yeah.
The whole compound is very intense. And even the sheriff seems to know that something's going on, because she said, hey, you have a chance to leave, to not get involved here. And they do not take the chance. They stay for dinner. They do the whole thing.
Right.
What does he ask them for something? I can't remember what he asked them for. Does he, like, what's the exchange? Like, what's the favor? I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but
I can't remember now. You're right.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what he's...
I honestly, I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what he had asked for. Okay, yeah, so, I mean, it'll probably come to me later. Having said all this, we talked about the constructs. What do you think of the ring?
What, like the look of it?
Like the look of the ring.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't sway me one way or the other. I was just like, this is okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's large.
Yeah.
It's a large ring. It is like a football ring.
Yeah.
Like in that, yeah. And whenever it hits any surface, there's this really like metallic, deep metallic
dense
sound.
Yeah.
So it feels heavy.
Yeah.
You know, like very dense. Okay. So once they have dinner there, I think he finds his way. That's what he does for them. He's like, I can convince my daughter-in-law to let you interrogate the suspect.
Yeah, I knew that, but like, what did?
But does he ask for something?
Yeah,
I don't think he asked for something yet. I think he's got a favor in the chamber.
Yeah.
For later. So now they're back at the police station, and then we get this really great interrogation scene. So you had talked about True Detective, but the one thing here, one comparison that I think a lot of people, I haven't seen anyone make, is Men in Black.
Ooh.
This show is True Detective crossed with Men in Black.
Yeah, yeah.
And because even the scene where who's human, who's not, who's pretending, who's not, and then this interrogation scene, it's very Men in Black, but less comedic. Or it's quite funny too, actually, the interrogation.
Yeah.
And so Hal's allowed to go inside and talk to this guy. And what he finds, and which I think is extremely creative, is that he's asked, this guy's a football fan, he asks him all kinds of football questions, and he answers them no problem, rattles them off. But then asks him, what school does Harry Potter go to? Or what are your feelings on Barack Obama in office? And he's like, I don't have any feelings. I think there was some, something about his birth certificate or whatever. And he's like, oh, you're from Nebraska and you have no opinions on, Barack Obama. It's all these like needling and these political things, and then the pop culture references and he ultimately says that, hey, you guys are really good at identifying being an expert in that one character trait, but you're not actors. You guys are not soaking in the culture.
Yeah.
Because the average person will know where Harry Potter goes to school and will have an opinion if you live in Nebraska on, Barack Obama. Yeah. So really inventive stuff there. The charade is broken. The guy's like, well, if I was an alien, I'd be here. And then the dialogue changes, which I think is really great. This performer has done a really good job here. And it changes to the point where he's like, hey, I'm probably here on a really specific mission. And if you threaten that mission, I may have to take drastic measures to protect that mission, right? And basically indicating that he's a biological bomb that will go off and likely level the town.
Yeah.
So this gives us our first really big lantern effect, I think, because he basically tries to force him to tell him what he's up to. He sets off he asks him, are you ticking? Which is like, he's got him up against the thing, and he's listening. He's like, are you ticking? And he realizing he set this charge off, whatever it is, woven into his skeletal structure.
Yeah.
And immediately puts him in a bubble, but the blast is so strong it still levels half the building, and you get this really great explosion. I love this scene. I thought this was great. This is a great example of taking something and you just using dialogue to make this really, really interesting, which is what Men in Black did. I think Men in Black did this, well. But it did it in a very comedic way.
Yeah.
Just like that first scene where they find all of those folks trying to cross the border in the first Men in Black, where he tries to find who's the alien, stuff like that. Really fun and interesting stuff like that. So I thought this was great. What did you make of this interrogation scene?
I thought that I thought it was exactly like, honestly, I don't have much else to say other than what you already said. The Dumbledore stuff, or not Dumbledore, the Hogwarts stuff and the pop culture stuff, I thought kind of was a fun little way to really hammer home this guy doesn't know anything outside of what he's learned up for the role. What else? I think that I don't really have much else to say. I like the scene at the end of the day.
Right.
Nothing profound else to say about it.
All right. Yeah. So after this scene, I'm trying to remember what happens then.
What happens after that? I think after that, isn't that when they transition over to 2026?
Do they? Yeah,
I think
so.
it's right from there.
Because he comes back and he says, I told you he was an alien after the explosion, which is a great line.
Yeah. But I do think that they fade out from the chaos that ensued from that into the snowy state of 2026. Right. And that's where we end the episode on a bit of a cliffhanger, in that they discover Hal's body frozen in the bleachers where they had originally touched down, or at least started the story in Rush, wherever.
Yeah, they're in Nebraska at the shooting was.
Exactly,
at the
same stadium and the same bleachers.
Yeah,
probably in the same location.
Yeah.
And Hal is not wearing his ring.
Right.
And that's where the episode ends off.
Yeah.
And it's both the sheriff and John have come to him at that point. We don't know if John's wearing the ring or a ring at that point or not. I don't think he's
wearing the ring. No. It's 2026.
2026.
Which we got to point that out because I'm going to get lost pretty easily. John's got his signature goatee.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
And yes, it is the same bleachers, and Hal's not wearing the ring, looking very much like Jack Torrance from Shining.
Yeah.
Just like frozen. And it does end, and Hal is dead. At least that's what this episode would have you believe.
Yeah.
Surprised by this at all?
That they killed him so early, assuming it's him dead.
Assuming
right?
It's him.
Like,
yeah,
there's been undertones about like Hal Jordan's not making it out of this show alive. But whether or not that actually plays out, we'll see how it goes. I am not convinced. I'm not even sure if that's Hal. That's kind of where I left off with that.
Yeah. I do recall you messaging me when the first trailer came out being like, and the first thing you said is, I think they're going to kill Hal. Like the first teaser trailer for Lanterns, you're like, I think they're going to kill Hal. And I'm like, yeah, totally. And I think you planted that scene because I wasn't thinking that. But now, literally, the end of the episode is Hal is dead.
Yeah.
At least they would they would have you believe. So, I mean, I think you were certainly on to something there. And there is this idea of impersonation, human impersonation, quiet invasion, and who knows who that is. Could be anyone. Could be anything. So, yeah. So I wasn't too surprised by the ending of this. I thought it was a great ending, good cliffhanger. Really excited to see the next episode. Do you have any theories about where this is going?
Where it's going, it's too early. I had kind of a wild theory about Hal in general. I don't even know who we've been traveling with in 2016 is actually Hal Jordan. That's
okay. 2016. Remind me again. That's where most of this episode.
That's where most
place.
of the episode is. I started thinking about it because the 2006 thing where the hologram came up. I'm still kind of like, what? Either something really bad happened to the point where he just doesn't follow orders or doesn't follow protocol, or has just been maybe has been kicked out of the Lantern Corps but still has the ring.
Right.
I don't know what's going on there. Or somebody has captured Hal and has impersonated him for X amount of time.
Interesting.
Whether or not, I don't know. That's why I'm also kind of leaning into who we're seeing in 2026 frozen in the bleachers is not actually Hal Jordan.
Right. Right.
So, but that's my far-fetched theory that we might not be actually seeing Hal Jordan right now.
Did you see not the teaser trailer, but the next trailer that they released for the show?
No.
Okay, like a full 2-minute trailer for the show.
I don't know if I have. I might have.
There's talk of the Manhunters. Did you see?
Yes.
Did you see that trailer?
I think I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about the trailer.
Okay.
In that trailer, they talk about the Manhunters, and so there's a voiceover that says that Manhunters can take any shape. And I'm like, I didn't think about this until after, but there is the Manhunters, which are androids that the first police squad that the Guardians put together was the Manhunters, kind of like red and blue.
Yeah.
And they went completely haywire and revolted against their superiors, and it was a huge galactic war. Then the Guardians were like, we can't do that. We need to have biological beings be space cops, because you need to have that biological element. So that's why they created the Green Lantern Corps,
right?
And they recruited across, the galaxy. So that's cool. And I'm glad that those are being referenced, the Manhunters. But then they said they could take any shape. And now my theory is that I think the show is going to meld the mythology of that first android-based Manhunter, police squad.
Yeah.
And the Manhunters of Mars. And the Martian Manhunter can change shape as a shapeshifter. All Martians are shapeshifters in this, in DC Comics.
Yeah.
So I think they're actually going to merge the two in some way, because the Manhunters in the comics do not change shape. They're just bulky,
big, giant,
robots. They're like really small sentinels.
Yeah,
I guess you could say, just really small. So I actually think there's a chance that they're going to weave maybe the White Martians into this or something like that, and maybe, or they'll just say that they're androids, but they're shapeshifting androids. Maybe like they're like nano. I don't know, whatever it is. But I just have this feeling because you have the Manhunters of Mars, and then you have the Manhunters, and it's like they have the same name. Maybe they'll try and merge that. Do you think they're going to hint at the Ring's consciousness and Mogo and these like really big, really out there science fiction ideas from, just for anybody listening to this, Mogo is a giant planet that is a Green Lantern. Like the planet has a consciousness. It's a Green Lantern. It is actually the psychic force that's driving the rings to find new replacements.
Right.
Without Mogo, the rings go dead, basically, and anyone can pick them up. But with Mogo alive, it coordinates, all of the rings.
Yeah. So
do you think like crazy concepts like that are going to come up? They do go off world. Like I think that they will go off world. I think we saw that in the trailer. But do you think some of the crazier concepts are going to be done on this show?
No, I'm going to start with a no. I think that they'll try and keep it as simple. Like they might go off world and do some of that interplanetary stuff, but I think they're going to try, like the vibe that they're going for is restraint right now.
Right.
Whether that opens up towards the end of the series, we'll see.
Right.
But even if they go, like even if they're waiting till, blowing the lid off of that till the end of the series, I don't think they're going to stray too far off of the path of the people that we've been following so far. Like I don't think we're going to have like an army of Green Lanterns hitting Earth to help out, right?
Got it. Yeah.
But I mean, I think that they're going to slowly start introducing some of the concepts, maybe more lore about the Corps. We might not see it, but I think
Corps lore
of the Corps.
Lord of the Corps.
The Green Lantern lore. I think they're going to continue to pepper some of that into the series to kind of continue building the world around them. Whether or not we see all of it, I doubt very much. I'm curious if we see the Guardians at all. Like that's one thing.
It's the little blue people.
Yeah, the little blue people.
Yeah, it's a stretch, but that's why I really do think this stuff is gonna pop later. Like when they go off world, it's gonna get visually interesting.
Yeah.
Crazy.
We'll see.
I also love that the show has made no reference to the DCU at large. I want this show to really be focused on being a good show. I don't want it to be intertwined with Superman, and I know Guy Gardner is going to show up on this show at some point, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I just really want this to be good on its own.
Yeah.
And this first episode is really setting the pace for that. It doesn't hint at anything. It's telling its own story. It's nicely contained.
Yeah, you don't want like season 2 to come out and then they're gonna have a big laundry list of things that you had to have seen before for it to make sense.
So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit if you don't mind, because the one thing I'd like to talk about, something I really like, and then something I'm just so cool on, and I feel like maybe I'm just an outlier on this one. So let's talk about the thing that I'm cool on. I saw the Avengers Doomsday, which I think is hilarious that Marvel came out with a movie called Doomsday before DC did. You know, like just having that be such a prominent like Superman villain. But I saw the Doomsday trailer and I was just a giant shrug. Like I'm like, okay. And I feel I'm definitely like the odd one out here, and I don't want to be. Like I really want to like this thing. I do, but for like exactly the same reasons, Supergirl fell flat, and a lot of Marvel and Star Wars stuff has fallen flat. I look at this movie, I'm like, oh God, it's gonna be. Oh, do you remember this guy? And do you remember this girl? And do you remember what they did? And do you love rocky, dark, dusty planets with lightning and lens flare in the screen? I'm like, why does every movie look like it's driving me fucking crazy, dude? It is like just the scene. There's the scene in that trailer where Thor goes ham and is like goes to attack Doctor Doom and stuff, and all the lightning and stuff. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, you bore me, like it's just
we've seen this exact shot in Endgame and in Infinity
and
War.
I swear to God, it looks like it's taking place in Endgame. It looks like a scene ripped from Endgame. And I can't get excited. I can't. And I'm gonna see it. I'm sure it'll be great. I really am. I want it to be great.
Yeah.
I want to hear from someone who has a less of a pessimistic view on this. Like, and I know that you have less of a pessimistic view than I do.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the trailer and there are parts of it where I was just like, can we just? It's so clear that Marvel is panicking to me that they just realize that they don't have the pull or the audience that they used to anymore. Sure, Spider-Man's breaking all kinds of records right now, but that's fucking Spider-Man, right? Like. And it's Tom Holland Spider-Man. They've nailed the formula for that. I haven't seen it. I have no idea whether it's good or not. But they know how to draw people out for that. Any of these tie-in Avengers movies that have been coming out have not been very successful. And this one is so clearly just an attempt. Like, we brought Thor and Captain America back. Downey's Doom. For the love of God, please come and give us more money. Please. We paid so much for these. And then they're like, and if that fucking Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are over there, we brought back whatever that guy's name is that played Cyclops. Like, and it's cool. Like, honestly, like,
and Gambit, Gambit's.
I didn't mention that because he's new, but
that's right.
Very excited.
Well, in fact,
look, in the first trailer they showed Shang-Chi and Gambit fighting. I'm like, oh, you already have my money. Like,
nice.
That's
nice
enough for me.
Yeah.
But so there is my pessimistic view is seeing that again. And like, I mean, we've talked about like even the Zack Snyder films, DC, like if you've got something, like try and go for it, or, if you got to pivot, but don't try and go back to doing the same old sorry stuff just to try and recapture something that was working before. Sure. Yeah. Like that was the Joss Whedon, Justice League all like wrapped up. It's like, let's just do what those guys are doing and see, and it doesn't work. Like, what?
I was gonna say, watching this trailer felt like I was reading the title crawl of the third Star Wars movie. What's that called?
Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
Like the title crawl for that. The dead speak. Emperor Palpatine is alive. we're so sorry for that last movie. Please enjoy this, like really derivative, film that we're about to show you. And that's what that trailer felt like.
Yeah.
It felt like a groveling apology.
Yeah.
Look at all the people that we've brought back.
Yeah.
That's it. I feel like the third Star Wars movie did that. It's like, look, we have Palpatine back.
That's what
and
this
Palpatine
felt like.
has a child. That means he had to procreate.
Yeah.
He probably enjoys a good post-coitus cigarette.
He just lights it with his electricity.
Unlimited power.
But let's just use a very small limit. Honestly, so to that, it did look like a groveling apology that I will wholeheartedly accept because I'm a sucker for that. I get to see the old style X-Men in their old original costumes.
Sure. I mean, I'm a big X-Men.
That shot of James Marsters, who actually, I know the guy who played Cyclops, it's just on the ground, beams in the air, rips off his I'm just like, get the fuck. Like, this is all I've wanted to see in live action for Cyclops in ages, especially after seeing all the good stuff they'd done in 97. So I think that, I think overall I'm obviously gonna see the movie. I think I'm gonna walk out dumbfounded, happy and stuff. But I'm also a bit of a sucker for that stuff.
Yeah.
There of the list of 15 movies they said that are essentials that you watch before. Most of them I remember well enough. I think the only one I would probably revisit is Shang-Chi because I remember being bored by it, but I don't know that I was. I feel like I need to rewatch it with a fresh set of eyes because I feel like there was stuff in there that I actually would very much like if I was paying a little more attention.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think it's going to make a boatload of money, and it's probably better than I'm giving it credit for. It's just one trailer, and so yeah. No, I'm sure it'll be great. I just can't muster any excitement for it. So that's Avengers Doomsday. There's another trailer I saw, which is something I really enjoyed. That I really liked and felt super fresh is Clayface. Did you watch the Clayface trailer?
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
I thought it was awesome. I'm very excited for that movie. That when we were talking about the promise of DC letting their creators be creative, that's the counterpoint to Supergirl. Is that look at what they're doing with Clayface, Batman. The Batman and Matt Reeves is off doing its own thing too. Whatever, I think that, for the DC extended universe or whatever they're calling it now, they have their vision and they're going to stay in that lane. But the fact that they're still allowing their properties to be interpreted by other creatives in their own way and not having to behold or to tie them down to adhere to everything else that's happening, I'm excited for.
Yeah, the Clayface trailer I saw and I'm like, thank God. And it came out shortly after Supergirl came out and bombed at the box office.
Yeah.
One of the big fears I have of Supergirl bombing is that movies like Clayface or shows like Lanterns, which are risks, by definition, they're risks because they are not the average superhero blockbuster. So it doesn't mean when Supergirl fails that we're going to see less of those. I think that's the wrong lesson, right?
I agree.
And I'm so concerned about that, but I'm so glad Clayface is in the can and it's coming out. Lanterns is out and it proves. I mean, Supergirl failing and Lanterns, by all accounts, reviewing really well and hopefully keeps the energy up for all 8 episodes.
Right.
And being successful. That is the lesson is there.
Yeah.
It's that we don't need to see this same shit again. Give us something new. Give us something fresh.
Yeah.
Give the directors and writers the control. Give them their parameters. I wish they didn't have any. I wish this whole connected universe thing. Since when do we have to create movies and I need to have a 10-year roadmap? I don't nobody gives a shit. Did you see the the San Diego Comic-Con
for
thing
Spaceballs?
For Spaceballs?
I sent you that. It was the best.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I felt so seen with that. And just for anybody who's listening, Spaceballs is coming out with a sequel, and as a gag at the show, they're like, oh yeah, and then this is the first sequel in our Spaceballs cinematic universe. And all the screens are taken over by a 25-year plan of 80 movies that they're going to release and mocking kind of the roadmaps that DC and Marvel have for their films and interconnected universes in general. And some of the names I can't remember some of the names of the movies, but they're very, very funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this gag hit with me 1000%. It was so good and so funny, and it touches on something that I'm just annoyed by. Like, you don't have to do this. And then, people will, report on, okay, James Gunn's, DCU is failing because they're canceling. They announce this and then they cancel it. And then they announce this and they cancel it. And this became this and this became that.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you just didn't say anything,
yeah,
nobody would have anything to talk about or speculate on. Just fucking
announce when the movie's ready, or you have a strong plan that you're going to do it. Just say, oh, by the way, this is going to be
exactly
done. Yeah.
We don't need the roadmaps.
No.
Nobody needs them.
No.
Right? You just say we're doing these things. We're doing that, and when it's ready, we'll tell you about it. Or when we're confident, we'll tell you about it. Yeah. So Clayface looks amazing. Rated R, body horror film. Some of the effects look really good, and I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be really different, and I want movies like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was really happy. I was really happy to see that. So that excites me. Doomsday doesn't.
Less so.
Less so. But who knows? Like what happens when they come out. But those are the things that are kind of on my radar as two things that those two trailers came out, relatively close together, and really, like, in my head, I was really just like, oh, I like this and I don't like this, and they're very indicative of my feelings on these movies that are coming up. So
true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we just cracked an hour 20. I think we should probably close it off. I think this has been a good start, though. I think that Lanterns is off to the races. I'm excited to see what episode 2 brings. Maybe they'll thaw.
Maybe they'll set something in 2003.
No, that'll fuck up. If they don't go in 10-year increments around a 6, I'm screwed.
Let's just introduce six new timelines. We'll just change John's beard for every single one of them, just so you know which one's
longer.
It's narrow and long.
2019 is just down to here now.
He's like
Does he have a mustache?
Handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a version of John that has. I don't think he has that. Amazing casting. Aaron Pierre is. We haven't really talked about Aaron Pierre in the acting, and Kyle Rayner, Kyle Chandler. Both amazing. Yeah. I think I'm really excited about this show, and it's really the first show that I'm going to be watching as episodes come out.
Yeah,
I mean, not just because we're doing this episode by episode recap. I decided we were going to do that before we decided.
Yeah. I think that this is going to be. I'm very excited. Anyways, excellent. All right, let's close it off, man.
Peace, buddy.
This has been Justin.
This has been Otto. Peace, guys.
Take care. Yeah. Fuck you. I don't know how to end these things anymore. We'll figure it out.
You could have just not said the fuck you. You could have easily just not said that.
I'm sorry. I take that back.
Over.
I take it back. Come back.
Come back. We're sorry. Groveling apology.